another video of Xtreme Stories, and we're back with another video. And today's video is going to be a little different. It won't be about my life, but it's going to be about coincidences that I pretty much ran into. But some of these are quite sad, and some of these are quite ridiculous. But enjoy the video anyways. Our first coincidence this brings us up to is to do with the word Michael. And what do you think of? Right, Michael Jackson. But there's someone else you're also forgetting. Well, that's in this equation as well. And that person is George Michael. And of course, you guys are like, oh shoot, why didn't I think of that? Well, the thing is that you all know already that George Michael's last name is Michael, and that Michael Jackson's first name is Michael. But there's something else that also corresponds with them too. Surely you guys remember the day when they both died, which was tragic. But here's the coincidental thing about the day they died. And the birth dates too. George Michael happened to be born on June 25th, back in 1963. And his death was on December 25th last year, which is Christmas Day. Really, really, really sad. But Michael Jackson happened to be born on August 29th, 1958. And his death was on June 25th, 2009. And as you look at the born dates of George Michael and the death date of Michael Jackson, you can see that there is a huge correlation. Yeah, a huge correlation. And this is pretty surprising. Even though they're both dead, probably will have had a world record because of this. And this should be in the 2018 World Records book for this as well. Just letting you guys know. Now we're moving on to our next thing, which is something that you guys will find quite surprising once again. And this has to do with Nelson Mandela. And for those of you who don't know who Nelson Mandela is, which you all should know, he was the former president of South Africa, who died a few years ago. And surprisingly, during that time, we happened to be doing a project about him. Our social studies teacher gave us a project on basically the history of Nelson Mandela's life. And it was an interesting project for us to do. But surprisingly, we did at nearly the time of his death, because it was in the curriculum, and it was 4 grades as well. But we surprisingly did this on the same week that he happened to have died, which pretty much spooked us, because on the 4th day of doing the project, our teacher tells us that the night before, he actually died. And we were shocked. We were saying, oh no, now they have to correct all the history papers and say that he actually died the night before. And that was pretty much another ghost story that could have saved Halloween, but I had to put it now. But, life happens. Well, now this leads us to our next story, which you guys will find pretty confusing, but it did happen. This has to do with earthquakes. Of course, you guys remember the Mexico earthquake that occurred back in Mexico in September of this year, just 3 months ago. But there's also something surprising about that earthquake, because what we saw down in Mexico was nothing compared to what we saw up here, because what they had down there was pretty much wrecked. Like, everything down there was pretty much destroyed. But earlier that day, before any of that happened, up in near the border state of our state, Indiana, there was a little miniature earthquake right close to the border. It was right smack near our border. And it happened like 7 o'clock in the morning, but I had no clue, because this earthquake was nowhere near Indianapolis. So we had no clue this was actually happening. But they told us later on in the day that the earthquake actually occurred down there. And earlier that day, they made us do a drill in class. Still, this is not as much as compared to what happened down in Mexico when they had the earthquake. Because down there was a serious business. So I do feel sorry for them for having such a terrible earthquake, because it's something that shouldn't even happen to them. Now on to our next thing, number 4. This thing is something else. This one is my most favorite of all, because you know why? Well, remember Adolf Hitler, right? Adolf Hitler apparently was an evil guy, and apparently we all know that he paid for it later on in his life for all the crimes he did. But you want to know what else happened to him? He happened to have died right on my birthday. Boom! Right on my birthday. I mean, that guy was so evil, but he had to have died on my birthday. So guess what I did to him? And that's today's video. If you enjoyed today's video, leave a like and subscribe. You can always get updated on new videos from the channel. And also, next week could be the last week for Xtreme Storage videos because they gotta take some time off and also have to work on other stuff during the time. So I'll be really busy. And also, if you missed last week's video, don't forget to click the link in the description to go back to last week's video. And also, if you want to see the whole playlist, go ahead. Click the link in the description to view the whole playlist. Have a good day.